The editor-in-chief of Hong Kong Free Press. Welcome to DW News Asia. Carrie Lam says she has no regrets about her time in office, but she does leave behind a very complicated, controversial legacy. Could you talk us through that?
Yes, well, Lam has said that she's proud of her tenure in these final days, but 3 years ago this week, she offered a, quote, solemn, sincere apology for sparking those 2019 anti-extradition bill protests, but now says that the government did nothing wrong. Nevertheless, as far as critics are concerned, she oversaw the biggest worst unrest since the 1960s, millions on the streets, 10,000 ultimately arrested, US sanctions against top officials, over 60 civil society groups disbanded over the last couple of years amid the security law and newspaper raids. Most of the opposition now behind bars or in self-exile. Also nearly 10,000 COVID deaths, an uptick in poverty, and a huge exodus, a brain drain as residents leave the city. She will say that, this security law has offered stability. She was up against the COVID pandemic. And there's new infrastructure, there's an art hub. But to be honest, for most people, she will not be missed.
Now, if we look forward, Carrie Lam's replacement as Hong Kong leader is going to be John Lee. What can we expect after his inauguration on July the 1st?
Well, this former police officer was chosen in a small circle election by establishment elites. He was the only candidate, and rumors are that on July 1st, in a couple of weeks, President Xi Jinping will be in town and will swear him in. Ex-police officers seem to be taking up a lot of top posts lately, perhaps indicating Beijing's insecurities about Hong Kong. Lee is not exactly Mr. Charisma, but he will likely enact whatever Beijing is hoping for, and it certainly indicates perhaps that the crackdown will continue to roll on. He has promised a local security law, a crowdfunding regulation, a fake news law, as well as broad plans to tackle the housing crisis. But to be honest, his manifesto was quite thin, so it's quite unclear what exactly he's going to be doing when he takes office.
Okay, so you expect the crackdown to continue after John Lee takes office. Let's go back and talk a little bit more about Carrie Lam and the pandemic, which hit Hong Kong very hard. She enacted strict COVID-19 measures, but now says that they damaged Hong Kong's international status. Who is she blaming here?
We're hearing from just a different Carrie Lam in recent days. I mean, experts have said it's time to relax the COVID measures. We have high immunity after Omicron, and yet the city still has 7 days quarantine for arrivals, masks in all places at all times, 24/7, 4-person limits in public. She said this morning that there'll be no more changes until her successor takes over. But, business chambers have been urging her, begging her to open the borders amid this brain drain and companies leaving. And yet she finally admitted over the last few days that indeed damage has been done to the city's international status. It's meant to be a business hub. But, even with her successor, it's unlikely that we're going to see big changes in policy here until at least China does. They're pursuing this COVID zero policy. It's practically an ideology in contrast to the US approach at this point. And it doesn't seem they're going to change track, at least until Xi Jinping is sworn in for life in November later this year.
That was Tom Grundy, editor-in-chief of Hong Kong Free Press. Tom, thank you very much.